Have you ever wondered what it truly feels like to live the billionaire life, where money is only the beginning and power becomes the ultimate currency? In Monaco, the world's richest don't just gather for business. They gather for a ritual that defines status itself. And at the center of it all stands one man, the Zeus of Monaco. From a small Paris apartment to commanding palaces, super yachts, and private jets, his journey turns the idea of billionaire life into pure mythology. But behind the glamour of Monte Carlo's lights lies something even more intriguing. A secret ceremony that crowns the true ruler of this billionaire playground. Welcome to UK Billionaires 360, where we dive deep into the hidden empires and untold fortunes shaping the world's elite. Hit subscribe, tap the bell, and step inside this world of power and prestige. Because today, you'll discover how one man turned his fortune into a legend. But what ritual truly crowned him as Monaco's immortal king? How does a boy from a modest Paris apartment rise to become the Zeus of Monaco, feared and admired by billionaires worldwide? His story begins not with privilege, but with persistence. Elon Tobiana, the man the world would later call Zeus, grew up the son of a teacher and a clerk, far removed from the golden streets of Monte Carlo. By day, he studied real estate law. By night, he worked cafe shifts, saving every cent he could. That discipline became his weapon. With his first investment, a tiny studio apartment, he tasted the thrill of ownership. From there, he reinvested, studied market leverage, and took a gamble on a fintech startup just as Europe's property market was going digital. Within years, his shares were worth millions, but money was only fuel. What Tobiana truly wanted was transformation, the power to bend not just markets, but perception itself. By the time he crossed Monaco's borders in his 30s, he had already built the foundation of a legend. Here, he didn't just buy property, he bought identity, he bought myth. And soon, a storm would gather over the Mediterranean, one that would forever crown him as Zeus. But what ritual sealed his throne in Monaco's billionaire empire? The answer lies in a race unlike any other. What if I told you the Monaco Grand Prix is less about racing and more about crowning kings? For billionaires, this annual event is the ultimate ritual of status, a stage where wealth and power are displayed in their purest form. The narrow streets of Monte Carlo transform into a golden amphitheater. Every penthouse balcony becomes a royal box, every superyacht docked in Port Hercule turns into a floating palace, and every toast of champagne is a declaration of supremacy. Zeus of Monaco commands this ritual like no other. From his $150 million cliffside palace, he overlooks the most iconic turns of the circuit, watching as the engines scream beneath him. But his true theater lies on the water. Olympia, his 130-meter super yacht, anchors trackside and transforms into the most coveted seat in all of Monaco. By day, it hosts billion-dollar lunches where moguls and royals exchange whispers over caviar. By night, it becomes a masquerade ballroom, velvet masks, crystal chandeliers, and guest lists that read like a summit of global power. Here, victory isn't about crossing the finish line. It's about who commands the spotlight, who seals the boldest deals, and who writes the headlines long after the engines have cooled. For Zeus, the Grand Prix is not entertainment, it is coronation. A ritual that reminds every rival, every oligarch, every royal, exactly who rules this fortress of wealth. But even when the roar of Formula One fades into silence, Zeus's empire does not rest. Because beyond the streets and the sea, his power soars into the skies. Imagine living in a palace suspended above the sea, where every sunrise turns into a private masterpiece. That's the reality of Zeus's $150 million penthouse, a fortress in the sky that locals whisper about as if it were a myth. Known as La Foudre, the lightning, it stands on Monaco's ancient cliff, commanding a view that sweeps from the harbor's shimmering yachts to the Grand Prix circuit itself. Inside, every detail is a statement of supremacy. Hallways lined with Picassos and a clandestine Banksy worth millions. 4 kitchens where Michelin chefs rotate like staff in a royal court. A rooftop pool with a floor that rises and falls at the touch of a tablet, transforming from cocktail lounge to Olympic lane in seconds. Even the furniture tells a story. Baroque originals reupholstered and microchipped to prove their provenance. But perhaps the true treasure lies deeper. Beneath the marble and glass hides a secret vault, not of gold, but of machines. A subterranean kingdom where horsepower is measured not in hundreds, but in thousands. And it's here, in this underground lair, that Zeus keeps the weapons of his next conquest. What kind of garage needs climate control, neon lighting, and a staff of white-gloved attendants? Only the kind that belongs to Zeus of Monaco. Hidden beneath his $150 million penthouse lies an underground vault of rolling thunder, a collection of supercars so rare that even billionaires stop to stare. Here, steel and carbon fiber sleep like ancient weapons waiting to be awakened. A black Lamborghini Aventador tuned for Monaco's hairpin turns. A LaFerrari hybrid, its scarlet body gleaming like molten fire. The futuristic Delage D12, a $3 million hypercar so scarce that YouTube reviewers can only dream of touching one. And in a corner, resting like a crown jewel, the Ferrari 250 GTO, one of just 36 in existence, insured for tens of millions. This isn't just a garage, it's a museum of motion, a temple where engineering meets art, and every ignition is a performance. Attendants start each engine weekly, ensuring no machine ever falls silent. In Zeus's world, even horsepower must remain alive. Yet, as breathtaking as his terrestrial arsenal is, it's nothing compared to the kingdom he commands upon the waves. Because when Zeus leaves the road behind, he rules the sea. What if your yacht wasn't just a boat, but an empire afloat on the sea? For Zeus of Monaco, the answer is Olympia, a 130-meter super yacht that redefines what it means to rule the waves. Longer than a Premier League pitch, Olympia isn't transportation, it's sovereignty. Step aboard and you enter a world built for kings and gods. A 2-level spa carved with Himalayan salt walls. A glass-bottom pool that lets guests swim above the ocean itself. A concert lounge where virtuoso pianist Lang Lang once played for an audience of 14. At night, the helipad transforms into a private nightclub with a retractable DJ booth rising like a stage from the sea. But Olympia is more than luxury. It's diplomacy. During the Cannes Film Festival, Zeus hosts billion-dollar film financing lunches on its deck. At Art Basel, collectors whisper over unframed canvases in its floating gallery. And during the Monaco Grand Prix, the yacht becomes the most coveted seat in the house, a glowing palace tethered to the trackside harbor. Yet even the sea cannot contain Zeus's reach, because when he tires of waves and wind, he looks to the skies and commands them too. What if distance itself was no longer an obstacle, only another luxury to command? For Zeus of Monaco, the skies are his fastest highway, and every flight is a statement of dominance. His crown jewel is the Gulfstream G700, a flying palace outfitted with a master suite, rainfall shower, and a 20-foot conference table linked to Starlink broadband. Deals worth billions are signed here at 41,000 feet, while the French Riviera shrinks below like a discarded sapphire. For shorter hops, Zeus prefers the Airbus AC helicopter, engineered with vibration isolators so smooth it feels less like flying and more like gliding in a limousine through the clouds. On board, espresso machines hum as passengers sip lattes while crossing borders in silence. Breakfast at his Monaco pool, lunch in Paris, dinner on the Olympia anchored off Mykonos, all within a single 18-hour sun cycle. To Zeus, aviation isn't indulgence. It's efficiency. It's momentum. It's the art of being everywhere at once. And yet, even as his jets carve invisible paths across the sky, there is one ritual in Monaco that no plane can escape. A tradition where influence is measured not in miles, but in power. What if generosity itself became a weapon of power? For Zeus of Monaco, philanthropy isn't just kindness, it's strategy. Beyond the glitz of his cars, jets, and yachts, he quietly channels millions into causes that shape how the world perceives him. His name appears on donor lists at Monaco's Rose Ball, the Monte Carlo Gala for Planetary Health, and the Amber Lounge charity, where a single auctioned dinner seat once raised over €1 million for coral reef restoration in the Maldives. Colleagues whisper about a multi-million-dollar trust dedicated to pediatric oncology in Paris, confirming that even in the world's wealthiest playground, Zeus finds ways to outshine rivals through giving. But here's the secret. Every act of generosity also reinforces his myth. To donate is to display dominance, proof that his wealth flows so abundantly he can reshape destinies with a stroke of his pen. Philanthropy, in Zeus's hands, becomes another form of theater, a stage where the audience is global and every check signed is applause earned. It's the final piece of his empire, one that ensures his legend will outlive even the roar of his engines. But the real question remains. In Monaco, where billionaires battle for supremacy, can anyone ever dethrone Zeus? From the back streets of Paris to the marble palaces of Monaco, Zeus has rewritten what the billionaire life truly means. His empire, from supercars to super yachts, from sky palaces to secret vaults, isn't just built on wealth, but on vision, precision, and the power to turn luxury into legend. In a world where every billionaire fights for influence, Zeus doesn't chase the crown, he wears it effortlessly. Yet even the greatest fortunes fade unless they're built on purpose. Through philanthropy, grand gestures, and quiet influence, Zeus proves that the billionaire life isn't only about owning everything, it's about shaping how the world remembers you. This was UK Billionaires 360, your window into the hidden world of power, luxury, and untold ambition. If you enjoyed this journey through the billionaire life, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And tell us in the comments, who should we uncover next? Because the story of the billionaire life never ends. It only gets more extraordinary.